Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Swamiji, it is always a joy to have a monk amongst us, and we are indebted to you for making the time so early to be with us. Swamiji, shall we come into prayer?
Parutatve Sadalino Rama Krishna Samagaya Yudharma Sthapanarato Viresham Tam Namamyam Viresham Tam Namamyam. It means Parutate Sadalino, one who is all the time immersed in meditation of the Supreme, that Brahman, at the behest of his Guru, Ramakrishna Samagaya, at the behest of his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna, he came down, opened his eyes, broke his meditation, and came out to help the people of this world. That Swami Vivekananda, we bow down to him today.
So beautiful, Swamiji. Thank you for the translation, because very often we see the beauty of the hymn or the chant, but we do not know the meaning of it. Thank you, Swamiji. This morning, Swamiji, I've asked in particular to come to say some things about Swami Vivekananda in connection with youth and his mission in the world. But before this, Swamiji is based in Chicago as a minister. And Chicago is a very wonderful city. We associate it with many wonderful things. Swamiji, tell these wonderful things.
The Chicago, for us, the Indians, it's a holy place because Swami Vivekananda stood over there and gave the wonderful, the rejuvenation, the message of rejuvenation for a great nation that is India. Under the subjugation for hundreds and hundreds of years, India lost her originality. Now it is only 29 years young Swami Vivekananda who stood on the soil of Chicago and then addressed the whole world as the brothers, sisters and brothers, and started giving the idea of the India, the Indian womanhood, the Indian culture, Indian philosophy, Indian religion, so that slowly make the whole one understand the unique nation that was India. So for that, we are so proud. And Chicago, why Chicago? Because the Chicago city has a vibrant life. When it was burned down to ashes, like a phoenix of the mythology, it came up and it stood in such a way we cannot imagine from the 1870 when it was burned and 1890 it was ready within 30 years. And it was in a massive way, and it got well connected with all over America. So the then President of America chose the Chicago as a center where they decided to celebrate the 400 years of Columbus exposition. And part of the exposition was Parliament of Religion. So Chicago is a wonderful city, and Chicago where everyone is welcome. And Chicago, they say, the city of the wind and beautiful city.
Swamiji, one point is here which I find a little ironical, beautifully ironical, is that the purpose of having the Parliament of Religions was one thing, which Swamiji turned it into something else. Elaborate, Swamiji? That they wanted to show the glory of the Western world, etc.
See, one thing we should understand, that so many religions were there in this world from the primitive ages. But it was America who organized a platform where all the best religions, there are 10 religions represented over there, the major 10 religions of the world, and there they were thinking naturally that the Christianity will be the supreme. They were not having any idea of others. But we should appreciate that it was the first parliament of religions.
Yes.
That is the first parliament of religions, and no other country could think of organizing this way. And Sri Ramakrishna, the guru of Swami Vivekananda, is the embodiment of the parliament of religions. He himself practiced all the religions, all the paths.
Yes.
And then he said all paths are leading to the same goal. So obviously, his beloved disciple, Swami Vivekananda, it became so easy for him to express that idea. And he quoted from the scripture, Hindu scripture, and he said, the different rivers, the starting from the different points, all are going to the ocean and mingling and making the ocean. Similarly, all different paths, all different religions, in different places, they are originating, but going to the same God. So when we can understand that, then at least I don't hope, and it is not possible that there won't be conflict. The two brothers, they fight. It is there in the nature. But at least people won't cut the throat of each other in the name of religion. Because religion is connected with God, and God is nothing but love, love, and love. How can you kill each other? So we have to understand the methods of the religions.
The wonderful thing here is, Swamiji, that the Americans were receptive very much to Swamiji. What would you attribute this easy receptiveness of Swamiji?
So this is the beauty of the America. They are always open. I have seen the ordinary American people also. They always like to learn. They always like to know. And they are very good students. Whenever they take up something to learn, they go to the root of it. They try to understand it. And if it is good, they appreciate it. And they never say where from it is coming. And this quality, I am sorry to say, it is absent in Europe and Asia. But these Americans, that from different places, the people came, they mingled over there, and whatever may be the other history. But one thing developed that we had to learn and we have to build. Freedom. Freedom is the wonderful thing that is in America. The personal freedom is excellent. If you are reading a book, the next person sitting by your side will never glance at it. Because you have personal freedom, you have every right to. But in our country, we cannot think of it. We are curious what book you are reading immediately. But they give this type of the freedom. Swami Vivekananda, he was really praising in that way that he said, when the people are coming from the Europe, particularly East Europe, the poor countries, and when they reaches the shore of America, their heads are hanging on their chest, no self-confidence. But the atmosphere of America inspires them in a wonderful way. That within few days, that person, Swamiji is giving in that way, he goes and shakes hand with the President of America and looking straight to his eyes. That is the self-confidence America can give. You will never feel that you have come to a different place.
A strange country.
A strange country is a foreign country. You just get down and you are free. So that really appreciating.
It is for this reason that Swamiji's Vedanta was so easily accepted by them. Tell something, Swamiji, what is this Vedanta that the Americans so easily took to? Because it was not only those, it was a whole range of people, scientists, artists, actresses, actors, poets, they all have in some way been inspired by Swamiji. So it's a very broad area I'm asking, but encapsulated, Swamiji.
So this is a beautiful idea that the question that you are asking. It is Vedanta. Vedanta is a philosophy. And you know, the philosophy means it gives the answer to three basic questions. Who is the creator? what is this creation and what is the relation between the creator and the creation. Any religion, any philosophy you go, these are the three answers, three questions they're answering. Vedanta gives in very, very scientific way. So why scientific? Analyzes. It never says just believe. These things that you have to believe. Someone will say, I have received the message of God and I give it to you. You have to receive it. You have to believe it. And there is no why. But Vedanta is asking why. Kinesitam patati prishitam mana. There's a beautiful way the Upanishad says. A student is coming and asking the teacher, Sir, who is this that controlling my mind? I don't like to see, but my eyes goes and sees. I don't like to listen, but my ears, they listen. My mind, I like to control, but it goes everywhere. Who is there? Who is controlling? So the question. There is a Upanishad called Kena Upanishad, asking question. There is a Upanishad called Prasna Upanishad. Prasna means question. Constantly asking the question, analyzing. So this is the Vedanta, and they say there is something which is all pervading. And what that can be? Consciousness. That consciousness is everywhere, in every being. So when Swami Vivekananda was giving this idea, he never gave any sectarian ideas. Broadly he gave that Advaita Vedanta. There is one, and that is reflecting in every living being. That's why when he addressed the gathering of 7,000 people on the 11th September, the sisters and brothers of America, they all stood up and clapped for 2 minutes. What is there in that word? It's an English word, not that they never knew. Why then 7,000 best minds of America who assembled there stood up and clapped for 2 minutes? It's not that we are telling. It is recorded in the Parliament of Religion History. So obviously that is the power of the Vivekananda. They touched the hearts of the 7,000 people present over there. How? We are all same. Apparently outside we are different. Like the body is different, mind is different, but the soul of each and every one are the same. Sometimes now I give the example, because the modern now, see the light, sometimes tube lights, sometimes bulbs, sometimes a fan or a microphone. All are different in forms, different in names, different in their functions. But one thing is common in them, that is the power, the electricity. Similarly, the ant and the elephant, the sinner and the saint, all are having that consciousness. Vivekananda gave that idea to those people. So obviously, from all sections of people appreciated that, welcome that.
Swamiji, let's move away from America. Let us go to India. India, 12th January is Indian Youth Day. Early in the program, I had said something also. I would like Swamiji to say, why is a monk an icon? Because generally the youth will go for soccer players and rock stars, but here Indian government chose Swamiji.
See that almost like 40 years after the independence of India, India got independence in 1947. It was in 1985, the then leaders of the nation, they started thinking, they started understanding India is going to be the country of the youth. And today, a 2011 census, it says the more than 50% of the population are below 25 years. And when you are taking the 15 to 24 as the 10 years of the youth age, and sometimes people they say from 16 to 36 because the lifespan has extended. So this, if you take that, it is 65% of the total population below 35 years. So this youth, if they don't get an idol, they don't get something before them to follow, a tremendous, from 15, from 16, body and the mind start changing. A tremendous power started surging inside the body and the mind. that is a time, if we are not giving the proper direction, it will break. And if you give the proper direction, it will build. So they understood it, and they brought Swami Vivekananda in front of the youth. Why? Because if you see the history of the Indian struggle movement, Indian freedom movement, all the people of Indian freedom movement, they used to carry two books. One is Bhagavad Gita, and another is Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga. So this Vivekananda inspired so many people. Even the personality like Gandhiji, who was here in South Africa at that time, he read the lectures of Swami Vivekananda, got inspired, and wanted to have Swamiji over here. Swamiji was also interested to come to South Africa, but that couldn't be. So there was no one else than Swami Vivekananda. He was not only a monk, he was a patriot monk. His love for India, everything, that American lady, Kristen Grinstead, and she is mentioning in her memoirs, we started loving India, not seeing the country, not knowing anything about India, only by listening the name from the lips of Swami Vivekananda, the way he used to pronounce so lovingly India. So Swami Vivekananda, and what is Swami Vivekananda? Is that this character is combined in two. One, courage, self-confidence, and dedication. So these are the best thing that the youth, not only of India, of all the world, they should have in their front. That this is, the first is the courage, the self-confidence, and the dedication. And they can achieve everything. That's why the Indian nation, they accepted Vivekananda as a youth icon.
And I think today when we see the progress of India in various areas, we see that impetus perhaps has its origin in this kind of a thinking.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Because from the long back, the founder fathers of India, we can say, whom we call as the rishis, the munis, the thinkers, the visionaries, that they understood that this nation should build on two ways, Abhyudaya and Nistrayasha. The Nistrayasha is the spiritual development, Abhyudaya, the worldly development. Both are necessary because the empty stomach cannot practice the philosophy of religion. So we need the wealth. At the same time, too much of wealth without the philosophy, without the education, cannot help us. So they developed that, and that is why all over the Europe, only one time, the history, they all wanted to come to India. Why? Not as a tourist. They wanted to contact India to get the wealth. And there were people, many people, right from the Greeks and all other China, they all used to come to India to learn. So Abhyudaya and Nistrayasha, spiritual growth and the worldly growth, that was wonderful balanced in India. Afterwards also, same thing it is in our DNA, we can say. The Indian DNA, we cannot go beyond that. Even the rich people you will find in India, they go to temple, they pay respect to the philosophers, and I have seen in my own eyes. There was one of our Swami Ranganathananda ji, he was invited by one of the very famous and rich person, Birla, the J.P. Birla. And I saw the noon time when Swamiji is resting, J.P. Birla, the billionaires, he sat on the floor and praising the leg of the Swamiji. And that is India. That is India. So obviously, so this is the only way the world should learn from India. Wealth is necessary, but that is not the summum bonum of life. What we are going to do? Sometimes jokingly I say, suppose you go to 7-star hotel and you are spending $10,000 per night, but when you sleep on the bed, you don't know where you are sleeping. Where on the road or on the bed, it's the same thing. How much you will eat? The same thing you will eat. They will give you in a very fashionable way, but the same thing. So naturally, if we understand that, the unnecessarily this type of wastage of wealth, and not only wealth, through the wealth goes our thoughts, our minds. And when hundreds and thousands of people are suffering, and we are enjoying that food and just unnecessarily wasting our money, it's a sin. It's a karma. As a Hindu, we can always understand the bad karma will bring the bad result. Today I am a millionaire. Today I am enjoying because of my past karma. I do not know. I may not believe. I may say poo-poo. But this is true. Whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, if you put your finger in the fire, your finger will burn. So the karma phala is such. So that's why Swami Vivekananda, he said, why don't you share your wealth with those who are living gods? Wow, where you are finding gods? In the temple? Why don't you go and see the gods who are hungry, who are uneducated, who needs your help? So that is Vivekananda. That is the inspiration for the human society.
This point Swami has made about courage. I find many youngsters, as a teacher, as a teacher's experience for many years, youngsters do not have courage. On the other hand, those who have courage, I'm putting that word courage within inverted commas, there is another kind of a courage where I can stand up against authority, I can stand up against the law, it is okay. So how does Swamiji teach us this concept of courage where it is within the boundaries of socially accepted norms without bringing the individual in conflict with anyone, and yet showing this courage?
So Swami's is wonderful, that one line quotation, he says, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. I have to fix up a goal and I have to try to reach over there. And he is telling the youth, have faith that you are all, my brave lads, born to do great things. Let not the bugs of the poppies frighten you. No, not even the thunderbolts of heaven. So that is a wonderful way he is mentioning. Oh, what is courage? There are so many courageous people. They will go and they will fight and they go to the war and all those things. That is not the courage. Courage means, that is not the courage. Courage means you have taken a decision, and with facing all the oppressions and the oppositions, when you are going to get the success in your mission, that is called courage. So when you are trying to do something, so many oppositions will come and immediately we break down. No, that should not be. First, one thing, and secondly, sometimes we make mistake, particularly our youth. They think that if I am not successful in our study, then I am no one. Who said? Each and every one is having some specialty. Suppose you are a very good cook. You don't bother to get a certificate of a physician, the medical or the other certificates. But you are a good cook. You can go and earn a lot of money. In India, there is a cook. Of course, he is educated. But you know that every day he is a celebrity. If you like to get an appointment with him, it takes long time. Every day cook. India as a barber who is cutting the hair of the cinema actor and actresses. He is a celebrity. What is there? Anything if we learn perfectly, then suppose in our locality over here, if there is a very good mechanic, motor mechanic, people will go all the time to him, will you please come and look to my car? So that way, anything you learn perfectly and be proud. I know this trade. Swami Vivekananda, I should stop in this way. The Swami Vivekananda said, king can rule the country, but can he mend a shoe? A cobbler can mend a shoe. Maybe that he cannot rule the country.
Yes.
Each is great in his own place. This is what is called courage. Thank you very much.
Swamiji, we will have advert break now.
We have once again entered into a
Achha,
brand new
Swamiji.
year
Okay,
2019,
Miss
so let us get
Once
together
again, you
to
will be
invite
asking?
positivity and
We got
auspiciousness into
another
our lives.
less than half an hour. I will tell you. I will indicate when what point we
30
should
a.m. at 159 Road 7OT 140 Chatsworth. For more information, call 031
taking picture of somebody?
7915.
Me too.
Yeah, of course.
Dear listeners,
In the body. In the body. In
Khalid, what point we take now? Something. What point we pursue now?
And
Achha,
now you like to. What point?
after Khalid said self-confidence, we'll take. Okay, sir. Swamiji mentioned that youth should develop, or in fact, not my youth, everybody, even I myself, even though I'm 40 plus on age, Swamiji. Even we also should develop courage. That is an inner quality that we have to see to. Second thing Swamiji said, there is self-confidence. I think a lot of us just feel, I can't do it, I don't have this in me to do it. And Swamiji has a very poignant message for us in this regard.
See, Swami Vivekananda said, education is the panacea of all evils. He said all evils. So that means that anything in the society, all problems can be solved through education. Then he gives the education, the definition of education in many different ways. The one first thing he is telling, I want that education by which one can stand on his own feet. That means some of the people, some of the youngsters, they are not very good in education, the so-called the education that we know. But slowly, just by that, all people will go on telling them, oh, you are not good, you are not good. He loses the confidence.
Yes.
So Swamiji says, no, you should learn something so that you can earn something. The moment you are earning, then there is no problem. So in America, that social stigma is not there. So freedom. I met one lady, she was visiting me in my office in Chicago. She's a doctor herself. And you can understand the social status of a doctor. And her husband is a truck driver.
Wow.
And the gentleman came, is a very well built, and the hands are all tattooed.
Oh, good.
So he came, and I was wondering, who is this gentleman? She, without any hesitation, she told, oh, he's my husband, and he's a heavy truck driver. In America, heavy truck drivers earn a lot of money, and they are not at all ashamed. They say, I know this trade, I know this job, and I am earning. You may be a doctor and you are earning, then what is there? Why should I have to be ashamed of? I know many things. A plumber, without the plumber, can we go in daily life? And why the plumber should be ashamed of his job? And the society should also accept him. So when we are sitting, maybe a doctor, maybe a professor, maybe a scientist, maybe a plumber, maybe a driver, all professional people should come together and dine, and they sit on the same table. So that is the idea of Swami Vivekananda. He is telling the respect. And second education, he said, that education, man making and character building. Education, what is that? Man making and character building. What is that character? Character means one who can restrain himself on the face of fear and temptation. When there is a fear, the people are threatening him, we will kill you. He says, no, what is the truth? I am sticking to that, whether you kill me or whatever. And temptation, people will bribe. So if you do this, you will get so much of money. You say no. So that is called character. The strong decision for the duty, and he is not tempted or afraid. That is called character. That's why Swamiji is telling man making, character building. And what is that man making? Man making means the person is the having faith in oneself and also the respect for the predecessors. Because a teacher helped him to learn, parents helped him to grow, society gave the opportunity to live. So I should not forget that. That is called the human. If I forget all those things, I am not human. The birds, after the birth, they go on taking the help from their parents. Then afterwards, one day, when the wings are strong, they flew and they forget who are their parents. That is birds, that is animal. Humans should not do that. So that's why Swamiji said man making and character building. Third, he said, which we always say, is the education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. What is the perfection? The equality. That is for the monks. That is for the sannyasis. That is the highest spiritual life. When I don't see any difference, that is the perfect education, but not for all. We have to begin from the first one. That is what Swami Vivekananda gives the solution to all the problems in the society.
In this phrase, man making, character building, there also comes a phrase, nation building.
Nation building.
Swamiji. That is where how Swamiji gets the appellation. He is the patriotic monk. So something on nation building and Swamiji's patriotism.
So when we say nation building, nation actually separates us. The different type of nations, the Indian nation, then the Chinese, then the South Africans, different nations, that separates us. Nothing wrong, because we like to be in a different way and growing up. Like the, say, different brothers. There are 4 or 5 brothers. When they grow up, they have their own families and they earn of their own. But a time when they come together all in the family, same family, that type of nation we should grow, the human nation. And we are, in South Africa, we are free, we can take our decision, etc. In America, okay. In India, the same way. But when we come together, we are human beings. If somebody is suffering, we should go forward to help. And we should not try to destroy the others. Let them suffer and let we enjoy. That is not the view of Swami Vivekananda. It should be total growth. And that's why you remember the wonderful word he said, even a small, minutest atom can drag the whole world at its back. If anyone, any nation, any group of people suffering in any corner of the world, they will disturb the whole world. We cannot think that we are safe and we are enjoying. No, they will spread and they will destroy. So, human society should try to understand patriotism is good, but so far, developing my nation at the same time is the universal nation, that is human society. That responsibility also we should have.
Swamiji, this phrase, this statement that even an atom drags the entire universe behind it was actually a forerunner for the particle physics that came much, much later. And in so many statements of the Swamiji that we just marvel how it was that what he said seemed so abstract, and later on it was proven by science.
Yes.
Swamiji is an interesting area, but we will avoid that area and to keep a little more to education and youth, because it is his day. Swamiji, for me as a teacher, one of the most important things is concentration.
Yes.
Child has to concentrate, and yet in school, no way in the syllabus did they put down how to concentrate.
Yes.
It's a very strange thing that is there in it is not in our system.
So the concentration means if we love an object or a subject, we get concentrated. Suppose when a young man or a child, you can say, observing a movie he or she likes, he gets concentrated completely. If you like to talk to her or him, They're disturbed. They don't like it. So why? No one taught the concentration, but natural. Because love. So we have to teach them how to love the subjects, particularly anything that we are learning. And time management, that is a very special thing. So sometimes our parents, particularly Indian parents, go on nagging, oh, go read. But the time management is the mind should get everything. But if you are studying 1 hour in the morning and you should concentrate it with, you should read. Suppose I am having 5 subjects in the school and I should make it, okay, I must read half an hour this one, half an hour that one, like this. And that way, total 4 hours if you study, that is sufficient. The concentration that we talk about, the sitting on the floor, closing the eyes, pointing the mind to, that may come afterwards. For those who are grown-ups, for them it is okay. For the babies, for the childs, this is necessary. They try to love your subject. And how? That is the important thing for the guardians and the teachers. And the history or the geography, mathematics, science, language, if you put before them in a nice way, interesting way,
Absolutely.
and they will get interested too, like the music teacher, game teacher, are all popular. For the children, the music teacher or the dance teacher or the game teacher, why they become popular? Because they like those things. And the moment they know, oh, today is the mathematics class, oh my God.
Oh God.
And then sometimes the teachers are not friendly too. So this we have to understand our responsibility before, I have to put before the youth the subject in nice ways, the way they started loving it. That is the important thing. First. Second, you are correct. At least in all the schools, in the curriculum, we should have one point of time that they should come and sit and then look at one particular object or through meditation in the heart. Sometimes we teach that you try to see a light within your heart. Or sometimes we make a small red point on the wall and say, look at that, and then try to meditate that is coming within your heart. So that way, because that is the highest thing to control the mind. And the mind is nothing but different type of thoughts. And thoughts are coming because of our senses. Our eyes goes and collects some information, and that gives a way. And our ear, our smell, and our taste, everything is collecting the information. For a young mind, it is very difficult to understand all this. But slowly we can say, sit like a rock for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Do not crouch, do not move, do not do anything. Sit like a rock. And you know that in the children, they sometimes play, then they will be moving. Suddenly someone say that statue.
Yes.
Immediately they will statue. That's the same thing. That way, the moment you are statue, you are simply standing over there and doing nothing. Same way we can say sit and be statue. You are just a stone statue. Sit in this way. You are very correct when you mention, because Swami Vivekananda said, if I had a son, I would not have sent him to school for learning. I would have teach him how to meditate, how to concentrate. The moment you can concentrate, you can learn anything.
All knowledge can come to us.
Yes.
There are many instances in America where he showed the power of concentration, like the shooting.
Yes.
That's a very beautiful. That's something.
So he was living with a very rich person, Leggett's family. And the Leggett's son is a young boy. He was playing the golf. And it's very difficult, the golf. So you have a small hole somewhere and you have to put the ball over there. Swamiji was observing the boy is trying to put the ball into that hole. Then he said, hey, why this? You can't do that? I can do it. Then the boy asked, "Have you ever played this game?" Then he said, "No."
No.
Then you won't be able to do. He said, "No, I can do it." Then immediately challenged him. $10 bill over here. And if you fail, you have to give me $10. And if you are successful, I will give you $10. Swamiji said, "Okay, accepted." The Mr. Legate was sitting in a distance and he observed. He said, "Swamiji, you are going to lose the $10. It will be very difficult." And Swamiji said, "No, I'm going to do it." Then he challenged and said, $100. It's okay. The father $100, son $10, good income. And he then took that, and immediately the ball went to the particular goal, that hole. Then they said, you must have applied the yogic power." Swamiji said, "No," jokingly said, "My country is very poor. I like to help the people in India. So I told my mind, look at it. Simply put the ball over there and you get the $110. So, and my mind did it. And there was another incident that the boys were trying to shoot the what's it called, the eggshells. So that also Swamiji. And the greatest thing, when he was delivering lecture on the concentration and meditation, how to control the mind, and that was in Texas, some cowboys, they started shooting all around him, and the bullets were passing through his ears and over the head. But it is Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda. Without any warning, they started shooting. You can imagine any people like us will be afraid what they're doing. But Swamiji, unperturbed, went on talking. He was standing on a stool under a tree and was delivering talk to a small gathering. And these cowboys tested him, whatever he is telling, whether he is practicing or not.
Yes.
And they appreciated. So that is, Swamiji is not an ordinary person. He was a yogi, he was a rishi, and he truly was the Shiva. So his concentration was completely different.
Swamiji, that also in his childhood, this tremendous power of concentration was there, like the snake episode. That's how that Swamiji. I just
Actually,
children will enjoy this story.
They see that Swami Vivekananda, when he was early, for maybe 6, 8 years old, he's fond. The game was meditation. So he used to play with his the other friends, and one day they were meditating. So all of them, they sat for meditation, and his name was Bile, and he was also meditating. Then suddenly other children, they saw a snake is approaching, and they got very, very afraid, and they started shouting, and they got up and ran away, and they were calling the Bireshwar, who was lovingly called Bile, "Get up, come, because there's a snake coming." But that little boy immersed in meditation. So that's why he was from the by birth, his mind was so controlled.
Always we've seen Swamiji's intense power of concentration. There's many amusing almost episodes that they're very educationally sound for us to listen to. Swamiji, we have 5 minutes are left. Last words for a message for you from Swami Vivekananda, something special that we have not covered so far.
The Swamiji is a self-confident person. He never accepted anything without understanding. That is the spirituality. I will ask the youth of the whole world today, not only India, all over the world, human birth is very, very precious. Now, if we, by mistake, go to a wrong place, start taking drugs, and then ruin our life, we ruin our life. Maybe my parents will cry, maybe my friends will also feel sad, but it is my life that I am going to waste. I do not know in the next life whether I will become again the human or not. So it is better to understand this human birth first. Second, forget about religion. think about the positive way. When the Max Muller wanted to know, is this Max Muller or that European savant, he wanted to know about India. He wrote to our Roma Rolla and the French French savant, French savant. He wanted to know about the India. He wrote to Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath wrote a wonderful thing. If you like to know India, read Vivekananda. In him, everything is positive. So I will request my young brothers, young friends, wherever you are, read Vivekananda. Particularly the 2-3 books like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. This yoga series, 4 books, if you read, whole life you will get satisfaction, and you'll be not only happy yourself, you can make the whole human society happy.
Swamiji, one of the things that we said about youth is that they have tremendous energy, and we make the point that this energy has to be channeled for it to be properly utilized, so that it does not disturb mind and body. Swamiji actually gives direction to them in terms of service. Tell a few words on the concept of Swami Vivekananda's service.
So the Vivekananda service in this way, sometimes our leaders, they short-sighted leaders, they make the mistake. They utilize the youth for their own selfish purposes. But they do not understand that by that way, for some time, they will be in power or enjoying this. But if they truly help the youth to grow properly, how? By serving. How they will serve? Why they will serve? You have to tell them that by serving others, they are serving themselves. That is the main point. By serving others, they are actually serving themselves. This is the gist of all worship, Swami Vivekananda is telling. To be pure and to do good to others. To be pure and to do good to others. Doing good to others. Not that sometimes that you have to go and physically do. If you can do, it's good. But if not, at least we can pray for others, those who are suffering. I feel for others. Swamiji, he is talking about the leadership. Who is a leader? And I will conclude with these 3 wonderful formula, 3H formula. First is the heart, to feel. Second H is the head, to think. Third H is the hand, to translate the thought into action. So I will tell brothers, please accept this 3H formula. Think, feel in the heart, then think the solution, and then transform your thought into action. Be blessed by Swamiji. That is my prayer.
Swamiji, I thank you very, very much on behalf of all our listeners. Many parents will be inspired, and youth also, youngsters. We have many young listeners also for this program. We all feel inspired and uplifted. I would like to thank Swami Sumanji Maharaj for accompanying Swamiji here with us. And our guest is here, Arup ji is here with him, who was accompanying Swamiji. Thank you for being with us, and Ravi also is here.
Today we have a program.
This evening, this afternoon at
46.
This afternoon at the Ramakrishna Center Glen Annual, there is a program from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, at which Swamiji will be giving a discourse.
In connection with the 125th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda Chicago lecture.
It is the 125th anniversary of
Plus Swamiji's
birthday. So you are all welcome. Again, Swamiji, with joint palms, I am saying thank you to you all.
Om Shanti.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Guru Arpanamastu.